over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. As we approach the, Board President's comments, as we approach the 250th anniversary of our founding of the United States in 2026, it is fitting that we pause to reflect on the remarkable experiment in self-government begun by our founding fathers in 1776. George Washington reminded us that the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty was entrusted to the American people, while Benjamin Franklin famously warned that our republic could only endure if you can keep it. As educators, we have a special responsibility to pass on the history, principles, and civic virtues that have sustained our nation for 2.5 centuries. California law recognizes this responsibility. California Ed Code 52720 requires public schools to conduct patriotic exercises. The 52730 specifically identifies the Pledge of Allegiance as an expression of patriotism, love of country, pride in the United States of America. Likewise, Education Code 512110 and 51220 require instruction in American history, government, civics, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the values of American democracy. John Adams understood the connection between education and freedom when he said, "Liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge among the people." That truth remains just as important today as it was at our nation's founding. As we celebrate America's 250th birthday, let us remember the courage, sacrifice, faith, and vision of those who built this nation. Let us recommit ourselves to teaching our children not only the ways or not only the rights they enjoy as Americans, but also the responsibilities that come with preserving liberty for future generations. May we honor the past, cherish the freedoms that we have inherited, and continue to strive to be worthy stewards of the republic entrusted to us 250 years ago. God bless Temecula Valley, God bless our schools, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Now we're on to item J, readout of action taken in closed session. Actions taken in closed session must be reported to the public once closed session ends. Today's closed session began at 4 p.m. The Board of Education took the following action in closed session. Hand it over to Dr. Anderson.
Item 3A, public employee discipline. It was moved by Member Schwartz and seconded by Member Komrosky to approve the resignation settlement agreement and release effective June 30th, 2026 for certificated employee number 056254. The vote was unanimous, 5-0. It was moved by Member Barham and seconded by Member Anderson to approve the release of certificated temporary contract employee ID number 268823, effective at the conclusion of the 2025-26 school year. The vote was unanimous, 5-0. It was moved by Member Schwartz and seconded by Member Komrosky to approve the immediate suspension without pay and dismissal and statement of charges effective 6/24/2026 for classified employee number 267689. The vote was unanimous, 5-0. It was moved by Member Anderson and seconded by Member Komrosky to decline a complaints request for the Board of Trustees to serve as an appeals body under Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 1312.1. Consequently, the superintendent's designee decision is final, and the superintendent or designee will notify the complaints of this decision. The vote was unanimous, 5-0. It was moved by Member Schwartz and seconded by Member Komrosky to deny the claim for damage for RG received on June 8th, 2026. It was moved by Member Anderson and seconded by Member Komrosky to deny the claim for damages for statutory purposes, but approve the reimbursement for damage to personal property for RK dated June 8th, 2026. The vote was unanimous, 5-0. Did I say the vote on the last one? On this one? Okay. It was moved by Member Komrosky and seconded by Member Anderson to deny the request to cure and correct, but to allow Trustee Barham to add the item on the next agenda. The vote was 3-2. Wiersma, yes. Anderson, yes. Barham, no. Schwartz, no. Komrosky, yes. It was moved by Member Komrosky and seconded by Member Anderson to deny the Barham Schwartz cure and correct. The vote was 3-2. The vote was 3-2 with Wiersma, yes. Anderson, yes. Barham, no. Schwartz, no. Komrosky, yes. It was moved by Member Anderson and seconded by Member Schwartz to deny the Boyle request to cure and correct. The vote was unanimous, 5-0.
Thanks, Dr. Anderson. Now we're on item K, information reports, presentation of the LCAP and local indicators, and I believe this is Mrs. Brown.
And I believe since our wonderful Miss Lisa Brown presented at our last meeting, this is real just for any additional questions that anybody may have, but there's no actual presentation this evening. She is here if there are any questions, but other than that, I think she was very thorough last time.
Great job. I agree. I got no questions. Okay, so we're moving on to item 2, demand to cure and correct cease and desist letters. And that was just on there for information. That's right. Six comments.
On the,
General public comments, yeah.
oh wait, did you do information and report?
We just did it.
I had a comment on that.
Which item?
The cure and corrects.
Okay, well, we haven't left that technically, so we're on item 2, demand, secure, correct, cease and desist letters. Do you want Lene to pull anything up on the screen?
No, I just wanted to point out that these cure and corrects are coming from all over, not just out of state, they're coming from in-state. And in the last, I'm sure we've had over 20, probably close to 30 within the last calendar year. Each one probably costs us $2,000 to $3,000. So I think as a board, we can all work together by being very careful what we say to the public, because I think what happens is the public gets offended and then they file these Brown Act complaints. But we've only, in my time as a board member, we only cured and corrected one time. But other than that, none of these Brown Acts have been found to be in violation, or none of these cure and corrects have been found to be in violation. So I'm going to encourage all of us, including myself, let's not antagonize the public, because I know one public member continues to file these over and over. And so I think as a board, if we can just watch what we say, be careful with our words, that will help decrease the amount of cure and corrects. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, what's the board thing on the public comments? All 6, 3 minutes. There you go. Lene, would you mind?
First up is Jen Davis, followed by Deborah McManus.
There you go. Better? Yep. Okay. Good evening. My name is Jen Davis. I'm representing the library media technicians with TVUSD. I'm here to ask the board members and district members to review our classified position in next week's collective bargaining agreement. This review is based on our outdated pay range and job description for library. The library media technician position was set with a pay range 28 in 2005, 21 years ago. Many jobs like ours have completely evolved with time, needing to be reevaluated for what our position currently requires, advancing knowledge and skill set with increasing responsibility levels. We are the we are the only district in this region handling iPads on a one-to-one basis and heavily relying on the 27 librarians as immediate onset tech support. Please look to other districts like Val Verde Unified School District to reference their updated classified pay range. TVUSD currently pays their librarians an average between $46,000 to $59,000 before taxes. This is roughly a difference of $15,000 to $21,000 from Val Verde. Val Verde does not have iPads, and their librarians don't touch tech. The district has proposed to our union at the last CBA meeting a willingness to move library techs one pay range to a range 29 and update our job description. This is roughly a 60-cent pay raise a day, $12 a month to each librarian. Questioning what would be added to our job description and the value this district sees of us. We love and value our position. So I ask this board and district members this last question. How do you want the district to be thought of? A district that truly values their employees, or a district that continues to give raises at the top and cut schools, students, and employees? I am just one voice from classified, but I am the voice of many. This district needs to change how they treat and listen to the many. Value your employees. Make the changes needed in next week's final collective bargaining agreement. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to me.
Deborah McManus, followed by David Hatch.
Hello, I'm here to support and piggyback on Jen. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Deborah McManus. This is my 9th year as the library media technician at Alamos Elementary. Since TVUSD converted from Chromebooks to iPads in 2021, the daily workload of the library media technicians has increased significantly and has become far more technical. Library media technicians have been given the massive, uncompensated technical role of distributing laptops and assigning iPads through Mosul, inventorying, troubleshooting, exchanging, and tracking chargers, keyboards, cables, and failed devices. And for me, billing for insurance, all without the benefit of any training or additional assistance. I have over 1,000 devices alone on my site. SHAP has over 3,000. Since 2021, library media technicians have become the de facto frontline IT support for our students, teachers, and staff and parents. These added technical job requirements are extremely time-consuming and labor-intensive, yet we are expected to complete them while fulfilling our vast library responsibilities, such as textbook management, Williams compliance, storytime reading, digital citizenship, and teaching students how to use the library. The library media technician's job description has not been updated since 2010. The pay range has not changed since 2005. Neither our job description nor our pay range scale reflects our role or our worth in 2026. We provide technical duties above our pay range, which is a 28, and our job description does not reflect what it requires of us in 2026. I'm asking you tonight to not only update our job description to match what we do, but to also reclassify our pay to commensurate with our 2026 technical duties to a range 32 or 33. I'd also encourage you to see side-by-side job descriptions of our surrounding school districts, but also to pull up the IMS job description of a 1 and 2, because we are doing exactly that. Thank you.
David Hatch, followed by Caroline Hoffman.
All right. Hi, everyone. I was unable to be here the last 2 meetings, so I wanted to make a comment regarding the old dress code Speedo controversy. I felt it was largely pushed under the rug last meeting. This isn't nearly as important as paying people what they're worth, by the way, but I'm focused on Joe Komorowski's comment. I got a lot to say. I'm going to run out of time. He's my trustee.
I'd like to encourage everyone to go look at this comment. Again, it's still up. He first accused the water polo players of being in their underwear. They weren't in their underwear. You also could have spent 5 seconds looking at the picture to tell that. Then you attacked their character. You called them a joke. You asked for them to be disciplined for a future policy that hasn't even been written yet, all without taking time to understand the circumstances. Just when I thought that couldn't get worse, then came your apology last week. And this isn't funny, but a real apology includes taking full responsibility, expressing genuine remorse, and changing future behavior. So in my experience, you don't change your behavior. So here are some ideas for your next apology. First, own your actions. You said, I'm sorry for any pain you and your family experienced. You caused the pain. Try saying, I apologize for the unnecessary pain and exhaustion that I caused your entire family and the embarrassment I caused the community. Actually express remorse. You expressed no remorse. You said you were an old school guy and didn't mean to complain or condemn. Old school guys think before they act. Old school guys don't question someone's character over a picture. Old school guys don't attack students on social media for showing over-exuberant school spirit. 3, commit to change. You said you wish you could have had done something different. That's meaningless. It's in the past. Tell us you won't act impulsively in the future. First, then offer restitution. You offered to meet the superintendent, you and the superintendent with the families. No offense to you guys. That sounds like more punishment. How about a video on your social media saying that you acted inappropriately? And then let go of the outcome. Don't expect anything in return. Character, to me, is the moral and mental qualities that make up an individual's personality. I personally question the character of someone who says they protect the innocence of children and then goes on a podcast with Matt Gaetz, a sexual predator. I question the character of someone who attends a protest involving a minor student in his district. I question the character of a board president who appoints a man to the bond advisory committee who openly campaigns against GO bonds. I question the character of someone who called their other trustee mentally unstable and asked if they were a pathological liar. Before you question people's character, look in the mirror. Thank you.
Caroline Hoffman, followed by Daniel Molina.
I will say, I believe that is the first time that Joe has actually made eye contact with the speaker the entire time. I, too, was out of town and missed the last few times, and also wanted to talk about the Speedogate, as we're calling it. I did find it funny that one of your comments was saying that the children who chose not to participate showed better judgment, but when KTLA picked up the story, they showed that the boy in the jeans did in fact pull down his pants to his Speedo to join in the thing. I often wonder how much the additional security costs, because I haven't been able to see it in the line item. I don't know where it is in the warrant list, how often it shows up, but they had to start coming because people supporting you showed up with weapons, a gun, a knife, and now we have to be searched and wanded by an additional private company because apparently the officers you don't think are efficient enough, which is weird. So I'm wondering if somebody on the board or in staff could get me that cost breakdown, because all money spent are transparent, correct? Also, it's real rich, Melinda, for you. Am I boring you? No value add. Wow. Okay. It's real rich for you to sit there and say that every cure and correct costs between $2,000 and $3,000, as if the community submitting those wants to charge more money. We want you guys to do your job. What about the pending legal? God, she just doesn't even care. Why did you run? Okay, I'm getting. There's more I want to add for later, but I'll talk later.
Danny Molina, followed by Upni.
Last board meeting, I came up here to address harassment and attempts at intimidation that I've been experiencing for over 2 years from one teacher at every board meeting she attends. That teacher then immediately rushed up to give a public comment addressing what I said. What's telling about this situation is that she never denied my lived experience. Instead, she tried to justify it. What's telling is how this room was full of teachers at the time, and if what I was describing was a lie, why would she assume I was talking about her? Not once did I use her name while giving my public comment, but she sure did feel a need to own it, didn't she? Another point that is concerning is her claim that I shouldn't be around children. Meanwhile, she has never said a word about George Vega. This is a gentleman who was a teacher in our district and was arrested May of last year for molesting a student at Vale Elementary School. Wasn't this man also part of the teachers union? Isn't this person trying to paint me as a danger to children also part of the TVEA leadership? How many times has she locked arms and broken bread with Mr. Vega while never publicly disavowing his conduct? It's been a whole year since his charge, and the first time we hear from a teacher about an adult being a danger to children is her trying to paint a district parent with a false narrative. This is a real shame, because this is the exact type of conduct that concerned parents worry about. We have so many solid teachers in our district, but someone like her truly ruins any ability for many parents to be able to build a bridge of trust between educators and legal guardians. Additionally, it's not just some crap teacher actually putting children in danger, but we have a person who shows up to our board meetings with zero investment in our district. She isn't a parent, she doesn't live in Temecula, but somehow community members who attack me keep her heavily involved. A simple public record search shows that her significant other has a record of 2 counts of peeping Tom, with one of them including child endangerment, and 1 count of burglary. We literally have people in our community who paint me with a disgusting false narrative, all while breaking bread and locking arms with people who actually have no business being around children. It's really sad to see how quick a small demographic in our community can be influenced by the handful of bad actors. Temecula is so much better than this. Thank you.
Oopnate, followed by Lindsay.
Good evening. My comments are regarding the Board Advisory Committee, but I'd like to start with please support our librarians. As I've spoken in the past, they are a special group of people. They're guardians of knowledge. Please support their new contract. For the Board Advisory Committee, as the Board Advisory Committee concludes its work, I would like to recognize the dedication and professionalism demonstrated by the committee members and the district staff throughout this process. Over the past several months, 4 committee members, Gary, Alex, Jeanette, and myself, worked diligently and always kept the committee's charge in mind, identifying a bond amount that would provide our current and future students with safe, secure, and well-maintained schools, address critical facility needs, and do so in a fiscally responsible manner that would not place an undue burden on taxpayers while helping ensure a strong future for the city of Temecula. Our committee brought together people from diverse professional backgrounds and political perspectives. We worked respectfully, and 4 of us remained focused on the committee's charge. Through thoughtful discussion and collaboration, we reached a consensus on a recommendation that we believed best served the district, its students, and its taxpayers. I also want to recognize our district staff. We were fortunate to have not 1, but 2 CPAs, Mr. Brejnak and Ms. Lash, serving as staff advisors. Both brought professional auditing experience, and Ms. Lash also brought the valuable experience from her work on Measure Y. Their expertise, responsiveness, and willingness to answer difficult questions ensured that our deliberations were grounded in accurate information and sound fiscal practices. I'd like to thank Ms. Solano for obtaining updated photographs before the board workshop so that the committee could accurately portray the significant modernization needs at TVHS. And thank you as well to Mr. Marble and Mr. Jimmy Evans for sharing updates on the district technology, marketing, and AI initiatives during the committee's early discussions. And as always, thank you, Lene, for coordinating meetings around everyone's busy schedules. Thank you. And finally, the level of commitment shown by the district leadership and staff throughout this process was extraordinary. Dr. Velez even attended a committee meeting on her birthday to answer questions and support the committee's work. That dedication deserves recognition and appreciation. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all.
Last speaker, Lindsay.
Good evening, board. So I recently went back and looked at many of the platforms of trustees Wiersma and Komrosky. A lot of focus was on CRT, CSE mandates, 5G, Wi-Fi radiation, and other political and cultural issues. Years later, I think it is fair to ask, what measurable results have those priorities produced for TVUSD students? School board members are elected to focus on outcomes, support our teachers and staff, keep schools safe, provide fiscal oversight, and make sure district resources are being used wisely. That should be the work of this board. One place to look is the subcommittees. Month after month has gone by, and I think the public has a right to ask what has actually been accomplished. If trustees are going to take ownership of such committees and initiatives, then the community should be able to point to real progress, completed work, and results. We should also look at the board's own decisions about committee assignments. Trustees Barham and Schwartz were removed from nearly all subcommittees, even though they showed what can happen when trustees focus on getting things done. In just a matter of time, they helped move forward a new dual immersion program, which is something tangible that will benefit students and families for years to come. At the same time, the board is now preparing to revisit the RUHS Behavioral Health Partnership. The community should remember that this same type of program came before the board in August of 2025 and was rejected. Now, almost 10 months later, the board is considering bringing it back. That means students could have had access to these services for the past 10 months. So the question is, what was gained by the delay? Leadership is not measured by campaign slogans, it is measured by results. Our taxpayers work very hard for every dollar that we earn. We deserve trustees who are focused on achievement, that responsibility and transparency, and the measurable outcomes that are produced. We don't need any more distractions. So my concern is that any future candidates who continue Trustee Komrosky or Mrs. Wiersma's approach will also continue priorities that, in my opinion, have not produced meaningful results for our students and have not been a good use of district time or resources. This community deserves to know what has actually been accomplished after all of these years of promises and months of that committee work. If we are going to hold the district accountable, then we also need to hold our elected leaders accountable for the results that they deliver. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to action item 1, Community Advisory Committee, CAC appointments. Do you have any discussion on this or any comments? I see a mic lit up.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Schwartz.
Yeah, I just want to thank the members of the committee for their hard work, and I hope that they will continue to be part of our district and continue to support our superintendent and our students. They are experts, they are great people, and they need to be supported to continue their work.
All right, I'll take a motion in a second to approve the new additional members of the Community Advisory Committee. Do I have a motion in a second? Moved by Mr. Barham.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wiersma. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thanks, Lene. Second action item, conduct a public hearing, Temecula Valley Unified School District SELPA Annual Service Plan, an annual budget plan for the 2026-27 school year. I call for a motion and a second to conduct a public hearing for the 2026-27 SELPA Annual Service Plan and annual budget plan. Do I have a motion and a
Moved.
second? Moved by Mr.
Second.
Schwartz, second by Mr. Barham. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. This is the time and place designated for the public hearing regarding the 2026-27 SELPA Annual Service Plan and Annual Budget Plan. I declare the hearing now open at 6:35 p.m. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on the 2026-27 SELPA Annual Service Plan and Annual Budget Plan? No. If there are no more comments, I will declare the public hearing closed. Public hearing end time, 6:36. That's the end of that. Action item 3, adoption of the Temecula Valley Unified School District SELPA Annual Service Plan and Annual Budget Plan for the 2026-27 school year. Do I have a motion and a second to adopt this?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Schwartz,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Anderson. Lene, do you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. Action item 4, resolution number 2025-26/50, education protection account and the receipt of the use of funds for fiscal years 2025-26 and 26-27. I call for a motion and a second to adopt this resolution.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Schwartz, seconded by Dr. Anderson. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you again, Lene. Number 5, adoption of the 2026-27 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, and presentation of the California Dashboard Local Indicators. Dr. Velez has a comment.
Thank you, Dr. Komrosky. We do need to put up one of the slides on the LCAP. We had a printing error at the time when it was posted, so we did want to indicate that there was a change. Lene, you're working. Okay, so it's that very top column across the very top. Actually, when it printed out, it actually didn't actually print out the numbers. So in all transparency, we wanted to make sure the board saw this as well as the community in terms of that very top line. Unless there's any questions about that, the LCAP has been posted correctly on the website as well, and we will be turning it into the county after pending board approval. Yeah, it's ready.
Okay, at this point, board, I could omnibus motion item 5 through 11. If there's no comments on 5 through 11, I'll read each one of the motions and we can sweep them all in with one vote. You have a public comment on 7. Okay.
We're going to go 5 through 11.
We'll take the, seeing that what we could do is adopt 5 and 6, 8 through 11, then come back, 5 and 6, and 7, and 9, 10, and 11, then come back to Mr. Barham's question on 8. So give me a second. 5 through 7, and we'll take the public comment on 7. So is that all right with the board, that we omnibus this?
I have a question on 11.
All right, let's skip the omnibus motion. Let's just go
Yeah, let's.
5. Adoption of the 2026-27 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, and the presentation of the California Dashboard Local Indicators. Do I have a motion and a second to adopt
Moved.
this? Moved
Second.
by Mr. Schwartz, seconded by Mr. Barham. Lene, would you mind calling a roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. 6, adoption of the 2025-26 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, Federal Addendum. I call for a motion and a second to adopt this.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Schwartz.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barham. Lene, would you mind?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. And item number 7, adoption of the 2026-27 budget. We have a public comment.
David Hatch.
Hello, everyone. Over the past few days during Father's Day, I decided to carefully review this budget, LCAP, and the warrant reports that we've seen recently. I just want to understand where we are financially. One thing is very clear. Our financial trajectory deserves far more urgency than it's receiving. According to the budget, the TVUSD is projected to spend approximately $24 million more than it receives this year. That's not good. With similar deficits projected in the years ahead. To balance those budget, the district plans to reduce reserves from the general fund from $120 million today to less than $53 million in 3 years. Wow. Last meeting, then, you guys voted a potential additional $4.4 million from the general fund for expenses that a potential general obligation bond is designed to pay for. Why? I don't understand. For facilities, we're getting a general obligation bond to pay for that stuff. Now we're draining from both sides. We're draining the general fund for facilities and operations. That's not good governance. The general fund is for facilities. That's not TVUSD having skin in the game. I heard that so many times last meeting. It's not a game. TVUSD is the game. It's a perpetual thing. It's going to be here long after us. It's not skin in the game to bankrupt the district, okay? We are the clients. The general public are the clients. Even if you don't have your kids in a TVUSD school, the public benefits from quality education. Even our president, who doesn't send his kids to a TVUSD school, benefits from quality public education. An educated public improves communities. So, to be clear, we're not in immediate financial crisis, but by 2031, we will be bankrupt. So we're operating at a deficit, spending more than our revenues support. The budget identifies challenges, declining enrollment. I wish the board would focus on how to increase our enrollment, rising employee costs, rapidly increasing SPED costs, growing operations costs. These are structural issues. They require long-term planning, decisive leadership. What concerns me is the lack of urgency. It took over a year to decide on a bond and simple bond language. Over a year. Decisive leadership isn't taking over a year to figure out municipal bond language when we have a bond committee and hire professionals. I don't hear a comprehensive strategy. I don't hear discussions about improving anything, about reducing legal spending, reducing software costs, identifying long-term savings, evaluating consultants like Courtney Fingerling Consulting. There's someone not closer. She's in Texas. We're paying for her travel, her accommodations, $200,000 to implement software. What are we doing with this budget? We need to do better, you guys. Thank you.
I call for a motion and a second to adopt the proposed 2026-27 budget, unless I have any questions or comments. Moved by Mr. Schwartz.
I actually do have a comment.
Good.
So I want to thank Mr. Hatch for coming forward. I actually have a whole packet from doing some research over the weekend and looking at some of these things. And my hope would be for this board is that in the early fall, we do talk about some of these issues, because in the next 2 years, it's projected we may lose 600 students, and the ADA does affect us. The bond that we'll be voting on in November only covers a capacity of funding and our needs. You're right about special education, and we want to take care of those students and the teachers, but that is definitely increasing. We just talked a lot about raises and what we're doing, and there's always different things pulling at the board, right? Because 85% goes to personnel, and we want to pay people, and we want to be able to give bonuses and things, but at the end of the day, which is coming very soon, there do have to be changes, because you're right. And I know Mrs. Lash has acknowledged this, so I think we do need to take a hard look. Are we growing the district office? Are we cutting more from one area than another? Can we take some of our facilities and rent them out more than we do? Sometimes churches and other organizations need to rent gyms and so forth. Can we look at that? I think with absenteeism, we've improved there, but if we can continue to campaign in that capacity, that makes a difference with the bottom line. And yes, with the lawsuits, that's a whole problem everyone needs to look at, and what you're coming out the board with. Is it really needed? I think a lot of it we could streamline, and it's going to take everybody in the room kind of agreeing to that. So I'm all on board. Even if I'm not running again, I want to strongly contend that we need to have these conversations and see where we can go in the next couple of years so we can continue to provide an education for everybody in the community. So I agree with you.
Thanks. Do we have a second? We have a motion.
I'd like to comment.
All right, Mr. Barham.
I would like to say, Mr. Hatch, I totally agree with you on the $4.4 million. I was against that. I didn't feel like I had a choice but to vote for that, to get this bond on the ballot because that was one of Dr. Komrosky's conditions. And you're absolutely right. It's going to hurt. We have the bond. If we get the bond passed, there's enough money to meet our needs for facilities. We don't need this extra $4.4 million coming out of the general fund, which should be going towards student achievement, safety, student outcomes. So, but I do want to let you know that that can be changed. So we just have to see what happens in November. Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schwartz. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
I had that he made the motion. Who made the motion? Schwartz, who seconded?
Oh, Mr. Schwartz motion. Did we get a second from, I'll second it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. 8, revised classified substitute salary schedule 2025-26. And we have discussion on this.
Just a question.
I have discussion as well.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you
No,
want me to
you can go.
Dr. Velez, do I have permission to ask Mr. Arce a question?
Yeah, can you let us know what your question is?
I just want him to elaborate on how the salary schedule has changed, because this has been a point of contention for, even before I was elected, that we need to be dealing with our substitute teachers. So I would like, if you would, to elaborate on how we're going to be hopefully taking care of our subs in the future.
Okay, Mr. Arce, are you prepared for that question?
Sure.
Okay.
So to be clear, the item before you, Mr. Barham and members of the board, is a revision to the classified daily sub rates. We have a process in place whereby anytime there is an increase in classified salaries, after that's approved by the board, we bring back an action item for an increase in classified sub rates. And the reason we're able to do that is we've had for many years now a process in place whereby the hourly rate of a classified sub, and a classified sub, just to be clear, is someone who subs in a position such as instructional assistant, custodian, non-certificated. A certificated sub is someone who subs as a teacher, for example, counselor, school psychologist. So the process that we've had in place for many, many years, which means the board at some time likely had input on it, provided the district with this direction, is that the hourly rate for a classified sub is always going to be equivalent to 85% of step 1 on that particular salary range. So for that particular row of the classification, if it's IA2, if it's ABIA, if it's custodian, in that particular range, there's several steps. The hourly rate for a sub in that classified position is 85% of step 1. So that's how it automatically comes to the board. We've always had that process in place. Now, I think to your question, Mr. Barham, because I heard you mention teachers, right? Teachers are, although their rates are also delineated in this document that's before you, teachers, certificated subs, it's at the discretion of the board. And what we do then is we issue a per diem for every different classification, including teacher. Right now, as you know, we have a system in place whereby substitute teachers have a per diem, and there are different tier-based incentives that they get depending on how much they sub for the school district. Should the board decide, hey, we want to revisit that again and we want to look at that as a whole and think about maybe increasing that, the board can always give me direction to bring back that item with data, with information related to the most recent increases, and I'd be happy to bring that to the board. I bring this one automatically because we have that process in place, but I'd be happy to follow any further direction from the board.
So what I was going to say is I'll vote this in tonight, but I'm going to also include in this motion, see if the board approves, for you to bring this back into closed session in July to where we can talk about possible collective bargaining parameters. I've always advocated for the highest possible amount for subs and I don't feel like this is enough, and I would like to have that discussion next closed meeting.
Sure,
I need consensus or the vote, yeah, so that's my motion. Do I have a second?
You do. Second.
Seconded by Mr.
can I just
Barham.
make one clarification,
Yes.
Dr. Kromowski, because I know you mentioned collective bargaining parameters. So this would not fall within our CBA?
I was assuming that fell in line with the unions,
Yeah.
but I threw that out there because I'm trying to get a placeholder for that conversation to.
Right, and I think to address what you're requesting, I think what I can do is I can work with Ms. Nicole Lash, so we bring back not only the current system that we have in place for teacher substitutes or for certificated substitutes, but some options for the board to entertain, including potential financial impacts of those options.
My recommendation would be 3 options, 3 gradations of pay. And so that we have more robust things to look at and close.
Yeah, I'd be happy to bring that back to the board.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Thank you, Mr. Arce. Any other discussion? Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you. Item 9. New certificated job description, dual language immersion, DLI, elementary teacher primary grades. Is there any discussion on this? Then I call for a motion and a second to adopt.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Schwartz.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barham. Lene, would you mind?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. And we're off to 10. Revised classified job description, Secretary 1, activities/athletics. I call for a motion and a second to adopt this job description.
Moved.
Moved by Mrs. Wiersma.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schwartz. Lene, would you mind
Wi-
calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you again, Lene. 11, dissolution of the Board Advisory Committee. Do we have any public comments on this? We have one. Okay, we'll hear them first.
Upney,
Good evening. This is kind of a continuation from my first thing. There is a quote where it says, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." As a member of the Bond Advisory Committee, I believe our committee embodied that principle. Individuals with different backgrounds, experiences, and political perspectives came together to tackle an important issue facing our district. Advisory committees function best when members respect both the committee's mission and the processes established by the board. Healthy debate and dissent are essential and should always be encouraged. However, effective committees also require members to honor established procedures, engage in good faith, and place committees' charge above individual agendas. Doing so preserves the integrity of the process and strengthens public trust in the committee's work. Despite the challenges along the way, I believe this committee fulfilled its charge with integrity and provided the board with a thoughtful recommendation. I am especially grateful to Gary, Alex, and Jeanette, whose professionalism, willingness to engage in good faith discussion, and commitment to the committee's mission made it possible for us to reach consensus and provide a recommendation that we believed best served the district, its students, and its taxpayers. I would also like to thank the board for entrusting community members with the responsibility of serving on this committee. It was an honor to participate in this important work, and meaningful public engagement strengthens both our district and our community. I also want to thank the 4 board members who voted to place this measure before the voters. Ultimately, decisions of this magnitude belong to the community, and I appreciate the board's willingness to allow Temecula residents the opportunity to decide the future of our schools for themselves. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve.
Okay, I call for a motion and a second that the Board of Education dissolve the Board Advisory Committee effective immediately pursuant to the Community Advisory Committee guidelines, which reserve to the board the sole authority to dissolve advisory committees at any time. I will move this. Do I have a second?
Second, and I also have a comment.
Second. All right, there you go.
I, again, want to thank the Advisory Council. I want to specifically give a shout out to someone who was not mentioned tonight, and I think it's wrong to leave him out, and that's Mr. Jack Guerrero. We did have diverse opinions, and I appreciated that. There's been some differences of perspective, and that's okay. But here at the district, it's always important to elevate not just a majority voice, but in this case, the dissenting voice wasn't heard in a capacity that I thought was equitable. He did represent himself in the meeting, which was great. And now that we're at this point, I think it's good to move on, but I just think it's wrong not to personally thank Mr. Guerrero as well. All 5 should be thanked and recognized in addition to the cabinet. I spent time with the meetings. I learned so much in the process, and I know the community has as well. So even though someone mentioned, why should this take 8 or 9 months? Well, it's because Temecula chose to do it differently, and I think that's a win for the community because a lot of people out there listened and learned, and they will continue to be educated through November when they actually make their vote. So thank you to all who were a part.
Any other comments?
I have some comments. So when this committee was initially brought forth, it was not the intention of this committee to work on just the bond. It was to fundraise. It was to bring thematic events, maybe such as choirs, orchestra, and events that our students might participate in to the community. It was maybe to coordinate art displays in the community. It was, Dr. Woods, when we brought this forward, talked about student placement and matriculation to upper echelon schools and how these members of this committee could help in doing that. But they settled on the bond, but that was not how they came in. And for me, what is the issue with keeping or not keeping this committee? These people dug deep. They put in extra time beyond just the meetings to deal with this bond issue. And they did a great job. And they are smart people, and I do not understand why this committee cannot function alongside every other committee that we have. Why are we dismissing them? Because there is so much more that they could do for our students than to just deal with the bond, because that was not their mission to start with. They settled on it themselves. And in addition to that, in your rationale, Dr. Komrosky, you say the board has evaluated the effectiveness, scope, and ongoing need. I'm part of the board. I wasn't involved in that evaluation. So who was involved in that evaluation? I didn't get to participate. What makes you think that other committees or other engagement processes can't be just as effective as this committee working side by side? I do not understand.
All right. So I just want to thank each member of the committee. Oh, you know what?
No, go ahead. I'll wait for you.
I want to thank each a member of the committee, all 5. It was a lot of work. Initially, I didn't really agree with the board advisory committee, but it got voted in. There was a lot of work done. The biblical precept that I admired in the committee was that iron sharpened iron, and it truly did, because there was a compromise both ways. Big shout out to Jack Guerrero. He was the person that I appointed to represent me in there and, you know, to bring, I think, a more robust and, you know, really awesome oversight as far as me. And I really appreciated what he taught me, but he also helped me. I mean, we didn't agree eye to eye at the very end, but I think that I feel confident that I can put the community member in a position to vote either yes or no on this with, I think, really awesome, transparent language, and I was satisfied with it. And that came through 5 board members compromising. So anyways, very, very big shout out to Jack Guerrero and a shout out to all 5 board members for all the work that you've done. And I think that's it for me. And then I think we have Mr. Schwartz next.
Yes, thank you. I remember talking to Dr. Woods about the committee when Emil brought it up. We were sitting in his office, and we thought it was a great idea. And based on the people who we picked people like Gary Otti, whose vast experience in our district is unsurpassed by, I don't know anybody who knows more about TVUSD
or served more in TVUSD than Gary.
That's right.
And I thank you, Gary, for your work. My pick of Neat, who is an expert in all the stuff that I find, I don't know even how to get my phone to work, and she's the one who is there for the technical expertise that we need. Alex Duvas, who's an attorney, his vast experience in the Marine Corps and in the law is an invaluable asset to our district. I don't know Jeanette Chun, but I know she was a big contributor, and I know Jack Guerrero, who's a CPA, contributed what he thought was his expertise. I do not see why we should dismiss this group. We need them.
Absolutely.
We need them to meet with the superintendent, to meet and work on other issues. There are lots of things that we don't work on that they can work on.
Absolutely.
So I see no reason to dismiss them or to get rid of this committee when we have such great people on it. Thank you all five for your work. I appreciate it.
Ms. Wiersma. Oh, Dr. Anderson, sorry.
I want to reconsider dissolving the committee and maybe reworking the parameters of how the committee is formed, or I don't know. I should have prepared my comments, but I didn't. I actually have found this committee very valuable. Having Jeanette on the committee, being a woman that shares my values, I never had to reach out to her directly, but knowing that she was there for oversight, I believe that Jack did an excellent job helping us have one of the most manageable bonds that a district could put on the board. So I'm going to ask if we could reconsider maybe once a year reappointing board members. And I think that would be fair. Unless they're working on a project, then we could vote as a board to not reappoint board members. But I want the board to consider that. Like, if now's a good time, we wrapped up a big project, everyone could reappoint. You can reappoint the same board member, you could appoint a new board member, and then once a year evaluating whether or not we need to reappoint, dissolve. But right now, I would like to consider keeping the committee and probably looking at which person each board member appoints. The other thing is, we all put in a name for the committee, and then it was just established, and I would like to consider having board approval on the committee members. Just so that we don't have, but I don't know. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe we would all vote each other's down, probably. I don't know.
So my opinion on this is we could consider something for the future, but this should be dissolved tonight. One thing to consider is that each one of these people would have to be asked and may not want to step up and serve again. And two, it does add extra burden on the staff. And I know that Dr. Velez probably wouldn't say this, but would attest to it. It was extra meetings and time, and it's one thing for a board to meet and then have subcommittees. It's another to bring in another layer of the community that can be helpful, but it can also be weaponized. It can also be biased. I think there's an issue when you have people on the board who have actively sued the board. There's things that need to be considered. So I don't think it's right to hold on to this group. We need to dissolve it, maybe bring back new parameters, thoughts, and ideas, consider appointing, but like you've said, one person might scratch off another person's appointee, and then it's just one more battle that's ridiculous. I mean, really, the board needs to focus with staff, with their committees, and then consider it possibly, but the right move is to be done tonight. That's my vote.
Can I ask if we can have another minute just to discuss? Can I ask the board?
You want, I'll concede 1 minute each. You want to?
Or I could just put a proposal that I don't know. Let me hear what other board members say. We could dissolve this committee and then bring it back if someone wants to bring it back for the next agenda. Just evaluate the parameters we have. Is that something the board would consider, dissolving it tonight, but voting and bringing it back on the next agenda with new, maybe just fresh eyes?
What if we pause this for 6 months until after the other election? That way it's not dissolved, but it's paused. It won't be in effect 6 months from the date.
I agree. I would support that.
Then I'll motion that.
I think that's a great idea. A newly constituted board might have a new visions, things that they want to tackle. So I think that's a great idea.
All right, did I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Yeah, you know
Ms.
what?
Wurzman.
I'm going to object because they're in place.
Let's start a 1-minute timer.
Yeah.
We were doing a motion in a second.
Yeah.
Well, actually, hold on, before we do this, do we have consensus to add a minute? I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. All right.
Yeah. They're in place. They have done a great job. I do not understand what this is about here. That you're looking specifically at this committee, and I really don't want to go there politically because I think that's what this is about. This should be about their contributions in the future with regard to student outcomes and how we can help our students, how their influence in the community can help enhance the educational journey of our students. And we are not considering that. I know we're not. Okay, you can sit there all you want and say that this isn't political. Your speeches tonight have said that this is political, and I think it's wrong. We should be thinking about this committee and its contribution to our students. That should be the only thing, okay? And you two have been against this from the beginning, and you still are.
Thank you. So we have a motion, a second to pause this, and it would continue possibly in January or not, but that would be in January. It would come up for December 23rd. That'd be exactly 6 months to the date, so January, the next board
Is there
can
any,
decide.
can I ask you a question, Dr. Komrosky? So if we pause it, and I understand that things are gonna get crazy in the fall. I think if something came up, we could unpause it, correct? Like, we're gonna pause it, but let's say that any board member feels like, hey, we need the advisory committee to step in.
Any member of the
Would that be an option?
Any member of the majority could re-agendize this.
Okay.
I want to,
Yeah,
just
Mr. Schwartz,
yeah,
you could reset his time for a minute. Lene, I'm sorry.
I would say let's not do anything. Leave the committee the way it is. If a need comes up that we want to give them a task, we give it to them. Otherwise, just let the committee sit the way it is until we either need it or in December, when we have a new election in December, we will appoint new members to the committee. But right now, just let them stay where they are in case we need them. I don't see a reason to pause or to get rid of them. Just let them sit there until we have something that we need them to do, and then we give them the task. Those people are great, and I don't want to just discard them because the bond is on the way.
I'll take a minute, Lene. So for me, it's a second-tier layer of bureaucracy, good or bad. In this case, the bureaucracy, the second tier, helped. You know, after 6, 7, 8 months, however long it was, the iron sharpening iron, 4 board members agreed that we would put a bond language, you know, to voters to decide. So in the end, it worked. But I do think it burdens the district, and I do think that as responsible elected officials, it is our job to decide some of these matters, and we can hold workshops, we can hold deep dive study sessions. That's what we were elected to do. I just think it's a burden on the district, and until then, you know, we'll see where the votes go. Lene, would you mind calling roll? The motion is to pause this for exactly 6 months, starting tonight, which would come out at December 23rd. And that means whatever the new board looks like in January, they can easily bring it back. We're not bringing it back. It's up to them to decide.
Okay. Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
No.
Schwartz?
Definitely no.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 3-2. Thank you, Lene. 12, committee update on board subcommittees, accomplishments, outcomes, and next steps. Lene, would you mind pulling up?
Really quick, we have 4 public comments.
Oh, okay, we'll take those first.
First up is Caroline Hoffman, followed by Aaron Hill.
All right.
color me not at all surprised that you, Joe, are the one proposing to pause or sunset the committees where there has been little or no visible progress. You want to sunset the Drug Instruction Intervention Committee while also noting that it will continue to meet. Did you mean that only Jen and Melinda will not be serving on it? If the committee is supposedly continuing its work, who exactly will be doing that work? It seems like a lot of committees are being allowed to linger without producing meaningful results. The exception, of course, is the dual immersion language program. You three only allowed Steve and Emil to serve on one committee, that committee, and they managed to drive it across the finish line. In fact, the hiring associated with that program was on tonight's agenda. As for the dress code committee, after all the controversy and public relations headaches created by comparing student athletes to OnlyFans workers and Chippendale performers, I can understand why some people no longer want to participate. And if I had encouraged thousands of followers to flood a survey with responses, I probably would not be too eager to sort through all that data either. Yet after all the meetings, discussions, and controversy, there's still very little to show for it. Then there's the CRT resolution. Will the final update simply be, oops, we got sued and now taxpayers are responsible for $2.2 million in legal fees? That outcome alone should warrant serious reflection on how these initiatives have been managed. What puzzles me most is your proposal to create a task force instead of continuing the existing curriculum subcommittee. Earlier, you argued that you were uniquely qualified to lead this because of your background as an educator and your commitment to education. What changed? Why push the update in December instead of continuing the work now? If the issue is as important as you previously claimed, delaying it sends the wrong message. Or is this simply because you need to have more time this summer to walk around the neighborhood and campaign for votes? At some point, the community deserves more than committees, task forces, and extensions. It deserves results.
Aaron Hill, followed by Lindsay.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Erin Hill. I'm the Director of Hill Alcohol and Drug Treatment, an outpatient program that has been serving adults, adolescents, and their families throughout the Temecula Valley and surrounding communities since 1986. Rocky and Debbie Hill founded Hill Alcohol and Drug Treatment, driven by both their personal and professional experience, and have since been privileged to guide generations of families on their recovery journeys. Over the years, we have also had the opportunity to work alongside TVUSD by facilitating student groups on your campuses and delivering substance abuse education and presentations to your staff and students. I believe that these experiences have given us a deep understanding of the needs of TVUSD students and families. What we have learned through this experience is that most adolescents experimenting with substances are not yet in need of formal treatment, and that is precisely the window in which we can often do the most meaningful and impactful work. When we reach a student before the cycle deepens, we can intervene earlier and often prevent that young person from ever needing the level of care our treatment center or others like it provides. Tonight, I'm excited to present Rise and Recover Alliance, a little short for this, a clinically informed, evidence-based digital platform focused on prevention, early intervention, and ongoing recovery support services. Developed by an award-winning clinical team recognized with United Healthcare's Optum Award for Clinical Excellence and honored with an official day of recognition in Temecula, this program is designed to meet students where they are, while also addressing the needs and responsibilities of the district. Rise and Recover includes a dedicated education track for parents, guardians, and loved ones, helping guide entire families towards hope, healing, and lasting positive change. By supporting both students and their support systems, the program promotes family wellness and recovery wherever possible. This is a tangible and highly measurable curriculum designed to help close the accountability and liability gaps that districts face every day. Students engage with educational reading materials and videos while progressing through interactive scenarios, self-assessments, and quizzes. Participants must achieve a score of at least 70% on each module before advancing, ensuring a satisfactory level of comprehension. We measure real impact through pre- and post-program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next speaker is Lindsay, followed by Upni.
Of course, he leaves. So I continue to be very confused with this drug subcommittee. So according to tonight's report, you have completed your review, you've identified recommendations, but yet you're preparing to sunset. So in the very next sentence in this rationale, you're saying that the committee still must continue to meet to determine the implementation details. So if the work's complete, why is additional subcommittee work still necessary? It's confusing. With what the last speaker just said, I would like clarification. All I heard was the word digital. And nowhere did I hear that services were actually going to be held one-on-one. Are there actual individuals that are going to be meeting with students with parental consent? What are the statistics on that digital help and for substance abuse? It's very confusing. Is there statistics when they go and take a test and earn a 70% that they're actually not going to still abuse drugs and alcohol? No disrespect, but I would like to know the statistics if this is what we're implementing. And it's been a year of these meetings, and it's remarkably similar to where we started in August in 25. So if we're going to be discussing these educational programs and parental involvement, all these referrals, and now RUHS partnership again, many of those same concepts, they were already available or discussed back then. So I want to know what measurable outcomes were achieved, what is different today, almost July of 26, for all of those students struggling with substance abuse than it was 10 months ago. What have we done? And it's honestly very hard to ignore, because all I heard about RUHS was this is a Trojan horse. We heard that partnering with RUHS was from many people in the community that if we include RUHS in our district, this is literally the hill I'm going to die on, yet I see it here. So I'm just very confused on what's changed and what actually was resolved. I'm equally confused by the dress code subcommittee. We did a lot of work. You, Mrs. Wiersma, you sent out a community survey on your Instagram for people to take, and we collected a lot of feedback. So what were the results? What did the district learn? How many responses were even received? How many dress code referrals are being issued at each school? What schools are struggling? What specific problem was the committee attempting to solve? I know that it was very difficult. We had that, with our boys and their Speedos and all the comments, so I can understand why we want to pause that. I got to talk about the grading subcommittee. You referenced, Dr. Komrosky, that you need a task force. You guys just spoke about not burdening the district, so I don't understand why you need a task force. You were put on the grading subcommittee and you want to wait till December of 26. Now our students in this school year, which when we start in 26, are not going to have any guidance of the grading subcommittee. So long story short, I'm sorry, if you want to be on a subcommittee, please do the work and finish it, and if not, please deliver it to 2 individuals who seem to know what they're doing and get them across the finish line. Thank you.
Upni?
So I think one thing I'm in agreement with Dr. Komrosky and Jen Wiersma this evening, the committee should have been dissolved. We were given a task, we did our job, we're done, we should move on. And do not worry, I'm on vacation going forward. Even if there was a meeting, I would not be able to attend. And another thing, not getting lawsuits, don't break the law, you don't get sued, very easy. And committee, and again, all of this is very confusing. In the agenda, it says we are going to be talking about the online portion of Hill Recovery Program, and the public speaker who is apparently the owner or the director of the institution, it seems like they're talking about oh, we are going to be referring students for actual intervention. And I don't know how many of you know highly functioning alcoholics. the early intervention is very hard. People can function really well, even while abusing drugs, alcohol, and so on. It might be very late, like with market change in behavior is when others start noticing that there's a problem or that person is abusing drugs or abusing alcohol. And I think every one of you, when you take a committee, you should have actually taken something you're passionate about. And having a person doing a job, being on the committee, I was hanging out with a friend in a beautiful house in wine country looking at a beautiful view where I'm like, hey, it annoys me every morning I drive by TVHS and I see trash along the road on Rancho Vista. She's like, yeah, I don't like it too. She's like, hey, I have an hour on Saturday, let's get together, clean it up. And we did. Then we followed up with Council Member Kalfas, and why don't we have trash cans around the school? Whose property is it? Kids walk by the sidewalk, and there's no committee, nothing. There's a problem, you see it, you try to solve it. That's what it is. And one more thing, I would highly encourage you to read what exists. What Dr. Anderson is suggesting for terms and reappointing already exists. You've distributed the guidelines, it's already there. Our term was, as the committee was up, on June 31st. Our term is up, you need to appoint new members to begin with. You didn't have to go through do a dog and pony show. What is important is the work gets done. If there's nothing to do, just move on and so on. Dress code. It showed in the last agenda item, the person did not read what exists because whatever was being proposed, it was already written in the policy, in the admin regulation, in a much more professional language, which looked like people had discussed, debated, and the problem is not non-existence of policy. As with everything else, it is uniform enforcement. Having more committees, suspending them, discussing it incessantly is not going to solve that problem. How do we enforce it uniformly? All of the rules, all of the laws, everybody needs to follow them. Adults usually need guidelines, but it seems like we all need rules and law to just keep us on our good behavior. Thank you.
So my thought on this is, I think there was a request to have additional time. I'm open to 4 minutes apiece, or 2 minutes, and then a second round of 2 minutes. What's the board think?
I think 2 and 2 is good.
2 and 2, we have consensus on 2 and 2. Lene, would you mind that if a board member is speaking on a specific subcommittee, can you click the list and then scroll kind of to what they're speaking to? Yeah. Or even the language that we used on it, but yeah, that's up to the board member, yeah. That's probably better. Thank you. Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first.
Mr. Schwartz.
Dual Immersion Subcommittee. The Dual Immersion Subcommittee was established to explore and recommend actionable pathways for implementing and expanding a dual immersion program within TVUSD. The committee's work focused on reviewing program models, assessing staffing and credentialing needs, evaluating curriculum options, exploring feeder patterns, and identifying opportunities for community engagement and stakeholder input. Throughout its meetings, the committee reviewed various dual immersion models, discussed potential community interest and enrollment demand, examined staffing capacity and credential requirements, and evaluated curriculum resources that support dual language instruction. The committee also consulted with Riverside County Office of Education staff and explored successful implementation practices used by other districts. Mr. Barham and I and Dr. Velez and Nicole Deas and Mrs. Waddell, after reviewing multiple implementation options, the committee identified Temecula Elementary School as the preferred site for a pilot program, discussed a phased rollout approach beginning with a single grade level. Considerations included enrollment, procedures, staffing, curriculum materials, training, and long-term program sustainability. As a result of this work, the committee recommends moving forward with planning for a dual immersion pilot program at Temecula Elementary School. District staff is currently working on a revised job description. You saw that tonight in the agenda. The committee believes it has fulfilled the purpose for which it was established by providing a clear framework and direction for implementation. Therefore, the committee recommends a sunsetting of the dual immersion subcommittee. There will be 2 dual immersion classes next year at Temecula Elementary School. Thanks to everybody involved for their great work, and we're really happy to sunset the committee because we did what we were tasked to do.
So I want to thank Mr. Schwartz and Mrs. Deus and Mrs. Waddell for their help in bringing this program to fruition. And families are excited about this program.
There were 80.
I mean, we've done some surveys in other, in implementing this in other schools. Families want this. So we are very excited that, and hopefully we can roll this out quickly to other schools so that other students can benefit from this dual immersion program. So I want to thank everybody who worked on this. And this is what it's all about. It's about bringing measurable results for the benefit of our students. This is what we're here for. And we need to continue with that focus. I want to talk real quick about the drug subcommittee, because in talking with Dr. McTasney and Dr. Velez, we are in compliance with what the county expects of us in terms of suspensions and expulsions, and what the drug subcommittee is recommending meets that criteria. So I want to say that first. However, in listening to what these various programs are going to bring, and I don't want to take away from any of them, because, I mean, some of them are untested. I think it's weak. I think we can do better. I think that if you have drug and alcohol addiction issues, you need some counseling. Digital platforms might be okay, because that's what RUHS is going to bring, from what I understand, and Hill Recovery. But we need people talking to our kids about what's going on in their lives. And that's why I think it's weak, and I think more work actually needs to be done on this subcommittee. So I will leave it at that.
Ms. Wurzma.
Work will continue on this subcommittee, and tonight we're going to present some of the final recommendations of the Drug Instruction, Intervention, and Recovery Subcommittee. I am proud of the work that we've done. It has taken some time to land here, and I think it will continue to evolve, and that's important. We are here to serve our students, but first and foremost, we're here to be sure parents are involved in that every step of the way. The thing that we objected about in the beginning with RUHS was having a clinician on campus meeting with students one-on-one. That makes some of us uncomfortable, because we want to be sure parents are there and that conversations are transparent. So the goal was to develop a district-wide framework for drug awareness. And as a result of the findings, we're recommending a two-tiered safety net for our secondary students that maximizes existing community resources without adding major costs to the district. Why vape? This will serve as our primary intervention for first-time vaping and light incidences. We've already used it at Great Oak High School. We've found some success with it. That will continue to expand. Tier 2 with Hill Recovery for secondary offenses, deeper substance issues, students requiring some advanced support. Yes, there is a structured, award-winning digital curriculum that's been presented to us, and we're excited about this pilot and the opportunity to be with someone who's already developed a legacy in the community, who cares about our students and has history with us. So that's important. Obviously, we know it's not a one-size-fits-all. There will be students who will need one-on-one counseling and support. There has always been a referral system in place through Care Solace. If someone needs to go to RUHS, they can. The phone numbers are there. We've never hidden them, and we've always encouraged people, get the help that you need. So the subcommittee will continue to meet. I know I'm almost out of time here, but I appreciate we're going to have a multifaceted approach, and even something that starts in elementary school. So we are on it.
Dr. Anderson? Minnie.
In the 2 minutes, I am going to quickly say the dress code committee is paused. I want to comment on the drug instruction subcommittee, one of the things that became clear through this process is that our approach needs to be tailored to the actual needs of our district. We are not simply trying to copy what the county is doing or what other districts will be doing. Those resources can be helpful, but our students, our families, and our discipline data and our community need to have a guided response. So we found out that a significant number of substance-related offenses in our district are vaping. I think it was it 87%? 87%. Because of that, it makes sense for vaping to be the major focus of our intervention efforts. The Why Vape program gives us a targeted educational response that is specific for vaping, and it can serve as a possible alternative to suspension option when appropriate. The goal is not just punishment, the goal is education, accountability, and helping students understand the health risks and consequences of their choices. For incidences beyond vaping, including alcohol and other drug-related incidences, we also discussed the need for a more flexible intervention option. That is why the subcommittee is recommending the Hill Recovery Program as an online modular education intervention. Hill Recovery has already been used in our district. It's familiar with the needs of our local community. That matters. We want resources that are not only legally compliant and available, but also practical, accessible, and connected to the families and the students that we serve. The recommendation also recognizes that not every incident is the same. A first-time or lower-level offense may require a different response than a more serious or repeated incident. That is why the district should continue using. Should I stop and finish later, or can I just finish and forego my other 2 minutes? It's like 30 seconds. Can I finish? Okay, thanks. And then I won't speak again. This is all I was going to say. The district should continue using a graduated response. That includes discipline when appropriate, parent involvement, school-based supports, care solace referrals, RUHS resources, and other recovery or intervention options. I want to say that I do appreciate the work that has gone into this subcommittee because I think it reflects a balanced approach. We are focusing on prevention, especially with vaping. We are creating options for intervention and education. We are trying to make sure that when a student makes a mistake, we have a process that supports accountability while also giving the student and their family a path toward other choices.
Okay, thank you. Lene, can I see that paragraph on grading practices, that first line? Thanks. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah, the subcommittee is not yet ready to sunset. When we do, I just want to thank Dr. Anderson, Mrs. Diaz, Joe Ballywag, who we've met a few times. There's a lot of work going on. This is very robust, and it's significant, and it will impact students, teachers, admin, or it could impact. So there's a lot of work, and you don't want to rush good work. So the task force that was suggested by Mrs. Diaz and Joe Ballywag, so that's ongoing. As it stands, we have surveyed all the teachers from 4 high schools, and we're not ready to present that data even close right now. Throughout the summer, that'll be assessed. In the beginning of the new school year, parents will eventually be surveyed as well. So there's a lot going on there. And can we scroll through those and back up? That's fine. Yeah, that's all I wanted to speak to right now. So we can do the second round, and then Dr. Anderson's done. So anybody, Mr. Schwartz and Mr. Barham, do you want to do your second round?
Okay, so I want to go back to the drug subcommittee and just state the way I understand it. And I appreciate the graduated process that you've put forward here. But Care Solace is for extreme mental health cases. That is what we have used them for. It's for kids that are ready to commit suicide. And as far as RUHS, it's a club on the campus, student-led videos. And like I said, our students need somebody to talk to. if they're struggling with drug and alcohol addiction. Yeah, and we've had suicides, exactly, in the district. So, you know, I think we need to rethink this and consider RUHS, which was free. Yes, a clinician came onto campus. We had 100% success rates. Care Solace is going to cost $26,000. I know it's pulled. Hill Recovery is going to cost something when we implement a contract there. But the main thing is get the kids in front of somebody to talk to, because I think that's what they really need. That's my opinion. And in terms of the grading subcommittee, it's a disappointment. Schwartz and I had that thing rolling. We had presentations every single month. We were ensuring that grading practices were consistent across the district, which was the objective in the first place. To hear absolutely nothing in 4 months since we were removed from that committee, and now we're going to wait until December. This should be ready to go when the kids start school in August. And I just think this is, it's not good.
Okay, so I'll take my my second round and respond to that. So yeah, again, you don't want to rush good work, and Mr. Barham, you disagree with the district trying to do good work with the task force and the good work that we are doing. So you just have to wait and see. I know you're not patient about it, and that's all right. But if you rush it, you're actually going against district working on this, and teachers, and yeah, there's a lot going on.
No, I will comment.
And
When you're done.
yeah, thank you. So again, we don't want to rush a good thing that's robust so that the board can be properly situated to take a vote on action before December. And that's the trajectory that we have before December, is to actually decide on this, whether we want the D grade or not. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Okay, so I'm done with my 2 minutes. And then I think Mr. Schwartz has 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'd just like to follow up on what Mr. Barham said. We worked on this pretty diligently. We met with Mr. Ballywag. We met with Amy Ricken. We posed the questions to the people in the schools who were the ones who did the grading, the department chairs. We reached out to the department chairs for their opinions, and we were unceremoniously removed from the committee. We would have been done by now. This would have been done and over. And as far as the D grade goes, I dare you to find 5 people who want to put the D grade back, especially high school principals and assistant principals. I dare you to find 5 people who want to put the D grade back in, because all the D grade does is pass students on who are unprepared for the next year. Basically, the D grade says, you failed, but we're going to push you through. And that is not good educational policy. It's not good for students. It's not good for schools. It is a way of bypassing what needs to be done, which is severe remediation. The program that we recommended for the summer for 8th grade students who were behind in math, guess what? They're in summer school. We had 100 parents sign up their kids to go to summer school because they were failing math in the 8th grade. Not because they got D's, because if they got D's, they would have already been in 9th grade. And those kids are now getting the remediation they need to be successful in high school. That's another one we didn't even have a committee. It was just an idea that we pushed through. We didn't need to wait till December to do it. We did it right now.
Dr. Komrosky, can I just clarify one thing? No? Well, it was just that Mr. Barham said that there's a 100% success rate, and I called Riverside Unified Health. They said they don't state that, and that that's not a true.
Within the
statistic
Okay.
in our district. And that's within, and Mrs.
I'm going to
Diaz
call
said
for a
that's not
motion in
true.
a second that the Board of Education dissolve the board advisory, give me a second, that was the wrong language, that's right. Yeah, that's
I
right.
also have a 2-minute.
Oh, you, okay,
left.
I didn't know you used, that's right.
You're skipping me. Okay. So I want to go back briefly to the drug subcommittee and thank Mr. McTasney, Dr. Anderson, Jess Capernegro. Thank you for serving with us. You made a huge difference. We want to change the motion. We're not sunsetting yet. If there's any confusion out there, let me just say we want to meet a couple more times to wrap things up. As far as RUHS, they do run a Friday Night Lights program. I don't know if that's what Mr. Barham was referring to, but there is an option for students to actually run a club where they're inspiring other students to do the right thing when it comes to drugs and alcohol and addiction. And they're just, these are clubs that can be put together, but it's student-led, and it's very different from what had previously come before the board. There's many layers. Referrals, again, have always been made available. So if a student needs the counseling, we're going to be sure they get it, and we're going to make sure that mom and dad are involved. It's true what Dr. Anderson said, RUHS doesn't say there's 100% success and we know it behind everything at all times, because they don't track students forever. And obviously we want students here to get help, but they don't know where they end up. And we all want them to get through what they're struggling with. The best way for them to do it is to work through it with their families. The school needs to do their part, but we are not community health centers. And that is one thing that I think the majority of this board has agreed on. We want to be very careful to maintain we're a schoolhouse. We want to give referrals. Yes, we want students to be supported, but it has to be family first. That's the focus. And I think with Erin Hill and the recovery program, the digital option online, I think it's going to be a great new program for students to really be educated so they can make a decision. And it will reach some and maybe not others. But this is going to be a great addition for the district, and I'm excited to see that be a possibility for what we have in our arsenal to help people who need help.
I want to make a motion, Dr. Komrosky. I have the right to make a motion here.
Make your motion, or I will. Make it.
All right. I move that either Mr. Schwartz or myself replace one of you on the grading subcommittee so that we can move this thing forward so that it is ready by the time school starts.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
No.
Anderson,
No.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
No. Motion not adopted 3-2. I'm going to make a motion that the Board of Education dissolve. There's a typo with what you're seeing on the screen with what I'm reading in my binder, so I have to, that the board dissolves the dual immersion subcommittee. And for clarity, Dr. Velez, does the direct staff to proceed with the implementation, does that apply to the drug or the dual immersion? Because I have to read this out.
So the only committee that's actually being dissolved is the dual immersion subcommittee.
Right, but do I
I
read out the implementation and planning efforts for
No.
the? Okay, got it. That
No.
was with the, that was
Correct.
for the drug.
Yeah.
Okay, so that I move that the board accepts the reports from the dual immersion subcommittee, and then that will be sunset.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barham.
Wiersma,
Oh, we don't have a, oh, sorry. Who motioned? I'm sorry. Who? I think it was moved by Mr. Barham. Do we have a second?
Yes. Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schwartz. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Okay, we're on to item, I have 13. I call for a motion and a second to approve the new limited scope legal services agreement with Adam Silva McNally as presented with the understanding that the agreement limits the firm's services to designate departments and excludes collective bargaining, negotiations, labor strategy, and board-related matters, including board governance, board member conduct, internal board operations, and board policy disputes, unless separately authorized by formal board action. Is there any discussion on this before we take a motion in a second?
Aren't we supposed to do that first?
Moved.
You can discuss or you can move. Okay, so it's moved by Dr. Anderson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Barham. Is there any discussion, or we can just call it to vote?
I want to discuss.
All right.
So I have a question since you brought this back, Melinda. Why are you bringing this back?
Because I didn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I do feel like after discussing further with the district, Adams, we do have a lot of attorneys, but Adams is working specifically on some HR matters that he's become extremely familiar with. So in the
Okay, that's all.
that's all.
That's
Okay.
all. But I have another question. That's all on that.
Okay.
So do you know Dean Adams?
I have talked to Dean Adams. Yeah.
What have you talked to him about?
In the past, as board president, I spoke with him about a third-party investigation that we had and other items. And I know that Dean Adams, he's not.
Do you find him an effective attorney?
I think that he is effective in this district at things other than board conflict.
But he doesn't work on board conflict.
He has worked on
He
board
has
conflict.
in the past.
Uh-huh.
So why did you vote? Why did you vote to terminate the contract? Why?
I had my reasons.
Don't talk to
why.
her, Dr. Komorowski. I'm talking to her. I'm talking
Point
to
of
her.
order.
I want some of my time back.
All I.
You're not getting any of your
Of course
time
I'm
back.
not. Go
You're
ahead.
interrupting me, and I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to govern the
Go
meeting.
ahead, Dr. Anderson.
Wait
Why
a
did
minute,
you
wait a
terminate
minute. I'm
this?
confused on the time. Is it that she's talking for 2 minutes or we're
This
in
is
a
our
quizzing?
2 minutes, but you know what?
Mr.
This,
Barham's
I'm
2
allowed to
minutes.
do this.
Oh, okay.
We'll give
So I
him-
just want to
we'll
be
give
sure
him
she's
15
fine
more
with that.
seconds.
Yeah, I am
because of
allowed to do
this.
this. She doesn't have to answer.
Well, I can just
want my
tell
15
you, like,
seconds back,
in my
Renee.
scope.
We already gave it to you.
Yeah, but I can answer you. Like, I'll just say dentistry for an example because
No, I don't
that's
want
what
dentistry.
I'm.
Why did you terminate this contract?
So that it could be brought back and focused on. I mean,
You have no answer.
actually, yeah, I'm not.
You
If
have
you
no
don't want to
answer.
hear my answer,
You don't have an answer.
Why don't you
Am I
focus on the
allowed to
motion at
answer
hand,
without
Mr.
him?
I'm
Barham,
talking
and
with her.
start
No, stop interrupting me,
interrogating
Dr.
a board
Komorowski.
member?
I'm not. I'm asking
I'm going
the
to call
question.
order.
Yeah.
Stop interrogating a board member.
I am
and
asking the
discuss the
question.
motion at hand.
I am asking the question. Why? I
but
want my
he
time
won't
back.
let me answer.
No, I will let you. Why did you terminate this contract?
Okay, if I can answer, I'm going to give people an example. In dentistry, I know a lot of dentists in town, and some of them do certain things better. I would refer someone to one dentist for veneers and a different dentist for third molar extractions. I believe that Dean Adams is a great attorney, but at our district, we have specific needs, and I think that narrowing his scope of practice to HR related and a few other related matters that they're already working on is going to be what best serves our district. It's just my personal
I wanna
opinion
make a
as a board
motion.
matter. So that's why I terminated it and brought it back,
You don't even know him.
and that's it.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I want to make a motion.
No, you know what, Mr. Barham, you are interrupting a board member.
I
It's
have
her
the right to
time.
make a
No,
motion.
you literally, we already have a motion. We already have a second,
And I
and you're
want to amend
interrupting her
yours.
time. You know what, Dr. Anderson, are you actually done speaking, or do you want to continue? Yeah, we're gonna put more time back on. Both of you are interrupting her.
I didn't interrupt anyone. I just
I
asked
didn't
for
have-
my 2 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't have any, I just said specifically, I chose to narrow the scope of practice for Dean Adams at this district. It's more to do with our district personality and our board personality. We're a little bit difficult. I mean, it's true. So I think that limiting the scope for Dean Adams is beneficial to him and to us. We don't need 5 more attorneys consulting the board. It leads to confusion. And it leads to something that we call, like, in dentistry, we have continuity of care, where you try to stick with one person for one thing. So, I mean, that's it. It's nothing personal against their firm. I just think limiting their scope is going to be better for our district and for the board as a whole.
Mr. Schwartz.
I'm sorry, I just want to follow up on what Mr. Barham was asking you. You didn't vote to limit their scope. You voted not to rehire them. It's a simple question. Why, when the Adams came up for renewal at the last meeting, did you vote to terminate him if you wanted him to be an attorney for certain things? It's a simple question, and I haven't heard the answer. I'm sorry.
So I could bring them back with a different contract because the contract on the previous agenda was not limited.
Why did you terminate them?
I just told you why I terminated
No, that
them.
doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, I'm sorry.
I voted no to renew that contract, and then I brought a new contract forward that I thought would be better, that
Okay,
would better
you know
fit
what?
the fit the needs of our district.
I got it.
That's
I got
why.
it. Thank you, I got it. I got it. It's perfect.
Perfect. Lene, would you mind calling roll? We have a motion and
I
a
wanna
second
make an
to
amendment.
adopt. We already have a motion and a second on
I
the board.
want to make an amendment.
Lene, what's up?
I want to make an amendment.
Lene, would you mind calling
I
roll?
have the right to make an amendment.
We already have a motion.
That's right, Dr. Anderson needs.
Let him make his
Let me
amendment,
make
and
an
then we'll
Who
just
made the original
know.
amendment
That
in
has
this case?
nothing
I
to
know,
do
I'm
with it.
asking a question. Dr. Anderson?
I brought
She's
this.
allowing me to make an amendment.
Let him make the amendment, and then we can vote yes or no on his amendment. Let's
Thank you.
hear what it is.
Yes, that's the right of a legislative body.
So
that
spit
another
it out.
person
What's your
can-
amendment?
My amendment is to bring, Dean Adams is a great attorney. He's been great for this district. Dr. Velez should have, she should be the person that is assigning attorneys to do the work. And Dean has been steady Eddie. He's done a great job here. He's a great attorney, and my amendment is to bring Dean Adams back full-time. Yes, and let Dr. Velez, like she should be with all of our attorneys, be assigning the work out as she sees fit. And that is my amendment. Do I have
So I
a
have
second?
to ask you.
Second.
No, Mr. Barham, I have to ask you, are you bringing the exact same amendment back that you voted to keep last time but got voted down? Or
Come
are you
on, Dr.
adding something to
Komrosky.
it? You
Stop
have to
it.
make this clear. Are you adding something to it, or is it the same thing that got voted out last time?
Yeah,
What's yeah?
I am, yeah, this is yeah. That this person, this attorney should not have been terminated in the first place.
You were a member of the minority. You cannot bring the item back.
Yes,
You
I
have to
can.
add. No, you can't. You can't. You have to add additional language
You
to
know
it.
what? Yeah. So
Dr. Komrosky, let's vote on it so that we don't even have to worry about a Brown
Let's
Act
bring him
complaint.
back full
Just-
time.
I'm
Yes,
going to
you-
vote no, so go get the
you-
votes and let's just,
you shouldn't be saying that, Melinda.
okay, then let's
shouldn't
call
be
vote.
saying that.
Okay.
If there are
Let's call
no
vote.
changes to the item that he is trying to bring right now,
I am.
I am
did-
point of
did-
ordering, and I will not
I did
recognize
make a
it on
change.
the
I said
board.
Dr. Velez should be making that decision. That's the change.
Making the decision of what?
As to that's exactly, as she should be doing with
Okay,
every
vote on
attorney.
his
that would be
amendment.
different. Schwartz, are you seconding it? Is that what you did?
Mr. Schwartz, yes, I'm seconding
All
it.
right. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
No.
Anderson,
No.
Barham,
Yeah. Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
No, motion not adopted. Now, Dr. Anderson, would you like to continue with your original motion, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, because I just lost my place in the agenda. Can you read out the motion? We already motioned and seconded, so I'm done speaking.
Yeah, but there was another motion in a second, so now we have to motion and a second it all over again.
Oh,
I
we
call
do?
for a motion and a second to approve the new limited scope legal services agreement with Adams, Silva, and McNally as presented, with the understanding that the agreement limits the firm's services to designated departments and excludes collective bargaining, negotiations, labor strategy, and board-related matters, including board governance, board member conduct, internal board operations, board policy disputes, unless separately authorized by formal board action. Do we have a motion and a second?
Moved.
Moved by Dr. Anderson. Do we have a second? Then the motion dies. We're on item number 14. Resolution 2025-26/52, commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States Semi-Centennial, honoring the Temecula Valley Unified School District and celebrating participation in the City of Temecula's Old Town July 4th Parade. Jen, you brought this forward. You can present.
We have one public comment.
We have one public comment.
Caroline Hoffman.
That was an absolute I have a question about priorities. We're being asked to spend board time discussing a ceremonial resolution for an event that will take place July 4th when students are on summer break and school isn't even in session. The rationale says this resolution will enhance civic education, deepen community partnerships, and honor students and staff. Respectfully, how? It's a resolution. It doesn't create a program. It doesn't fund a program. It doesn't change curriculum. It doesn't provide services. It doesn't appear to do anything beyond generating a press release. We're constantly told there isn't enough time to move committees forward. Curriculum updates need to be delayed, and important projects need to be pushed back. Yet somehow there's time for a resolution celebrating a holiday that the entire country is already planning to celebrate. The United States doesn't need permission from the Temecula School Board to turn 250. If the goal is to honor students and staff, there are hundreds of students and employees doing extraordinary things right here, right now, who could be recognized tonight. That would have an actual impact. Instead, we're spending time on a symbolic resolution for a summer event that will occur whether this board votes it in or not. I suppose the good news, this may be the least controversial resolution we've seen in a while, but it's also one of the least necessary.
Okay, Jen, you have 2 minutes to present.
Caroline, we're bringing this here tonight to celebrate a little joy and something lighthearted, something that is important. And what's really awesome about this is we had a little committee that started back in February or March, and the idea is what can we do within our community hometown to elevate the district, to elevate students, to do something that's non-controversial, that we can all agree in. The 250th anniversary of the United States is a big deal. And we're proud to participate in the 4th of July Temecula Parade most every year, but there's something different this time around. What happened is, for this event, each school site was invited to nominate a student to be recognized as someone who consistently elevates excellence. There were several nominees. We had some from elementary, middle school, and high school, and we ended up talking about how cool it would be to have a bus in the parade and to have these students with their families if they wanted to participate. Yes, it is school break, but wouldn't it be cool to have the bus and just celebrate the fact of what the district means to our community? So it does come with an honor, and it's going to reflect that our district's committed to elevating experiences, opportunities, each other. These students were selected for their character, for their growth, for a positive impact within their school community. So I loved the fact that it wasn't necessarily the smartest kid, it wasn't necessarily the fastest kid on the track. This was a special opportunity for kids to be recognized for what they contribute in elevating one another. So I hope that if you have plans to go to the Temecula Old Town Parade, that you will wave at the school bus and celebrate the fact that the district will be there. I'm not sure which bands and participation, what it will be, but I think we can all agree a simple resolution. We can pass it and just say we're all in on the festivities and celebrating the good things. So that's all I have to say on that.
All right, any other board members?
Yeah, I just have a question about this committee who did this work. Who was the committee that did this work?
Maybe I misspoke in terms of a committee. It was just a group of staff. So Mrs. Deus, Mrs. Ricken, Dr. Velez, can you help me out? There were 4 or 5 people that were on it. I think Jenny Hooter. There were several people where we came together and kind of talked about what could we do to elevate the district and celebrate it. So it wasn't official in terms of a subcommittee, but just something that we decided to expound on together because the district does from year to year have participation in the parade.
Any other board comments? All right, do we have a motion and a second? Oh, let me officially. I call for a motion and a second to approve the resolution commemorating the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, honoring TVUSD and saluting community participation in the Temecula Old Town 4th of July Parade. Do you have a motion? Moved by Mrs. Wiersma. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Anderson. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson? Yes. Barham?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. Now we're on to consent. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one vote. There is no discussion of consent calendar items unless members of the governing board or staff request that specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Did we have one item pulled for discussion?
Number 7 was pulled
I think it was 7.
Where did I?
to table first.
Yeah, I want to, I don't, did you ask formally for that, Dr. Komrosky?
No, I can now, though, because we can vote in all the rest and have to. So is there any other items that you want to pull?
Number 1.
Number 1. We have number 1. Number 7, I forget if we tabled that for the next meeting, or did we pull it for discussion? Pulled for discussion. 15, Mr. Schwartz?
Someone pulled 15. I just made a mark on my.
15 was removed.
Which number is Carasolis? I don't think.
15.
Oh, there it is. Yep. All right. So then I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 6, 8 through 14, 16 through
61.
61. Do I have a motion and a
Move.
second? Moved by Mr. Schwartz,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Anderson. Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
I'm sorry, Doctor, the motion again.
The motion was to approve items 2 through 6, 8 through 14, 16
I got
through
you.
61.
Okay, yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Thank you, Lene. Now on to item 1. Do we have any public comments, by the way, on any of these items? No. Mr. Barham, you're up.
I know that we had a restructuring, and I know that some people are listed in this this personnel items listing, and I would like to say congratulations to Jimmy Evans in becoming our Chief Technology Officer. And I can't think of anyone more qualified to lead us in this area. And I think, Jimmy, you will do a fantastic job in integrating our instructional technology focus with hardware and infrastructure so that we're able to function as a district in the classroom more efficiently. And I'd also like to commend Taryn Malone, who will be the new principal at French Valley Elementary. I've had the pleasure of working with Taryn on some subcommittees, and I've always told Dr. Velez how impressed I am with Taryn every time we meet. He has a lot of knowledge, and he's a class act. So I'm really looking forward to what Taryn brings at French Valley Elementary. And I would also like to commend you, Dr. Velez, because you had the foresight. You knew what was going on between IMS and instructional technology. So not that you need that recognition from me, but I want to give it to you because that's why you're the superintendent, because you had that foresight and you knew that integration had to happen, and I think it's going to benefit the district in some fantastic ways. So, yep, there you go.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second to adopt number 1? Moved by Mr. Schwartz.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Wiersma. Lene, would you mind?
Wiersma?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Barham?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Komrosky?
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Item number 7, Eric Forsyth. Ms. Wiersma.
I pulled this one because we've definitely hit a place where we're looking at our issues with the budget and deficit spending. I am all for training and professional development. I know this is an outstanding individual, but it is an open-ended contract. And I feel like I wanted to rein this back in to kind of get a grasp on what we think that we might be paying out. So it's $1,500 a day. I know it's Title II funds. I know there's specific grant funding. I feel like we have such highly qualified people among our directors and the people that work for the district. So there would be there should be a discussion here, and I'm interested to hear my colleagues' opinions on this, and also where we've landed in the past with total payout for this contract. Because if we're looking at eliminating consultants and we're concerned about the budget going forward, this is something that I just flagged wanting to know more about, and that's why I pulled this. So I think all things need to be considered through a new grid of what's the ending total that we see with a contract like this.
Okay, so Mr. Forsyth's contract, he's actually been a contractor with us for quite some time. I want to say probably the last 6 or 7 years. This contract is, I know it looks open-ended on it. You are correct, the way it appears, so happy to bring that back at a later time too. The total contract, or what we budgeted for, was $40,000. That is half the cost of what it has been in the past. This is our transition year in order to work with our staff. He is training our staff, kind of a trainer of trainer models. This will be the last year that we actually contract with Mr. Forsyth. Mr. Forsyth comes in and does a multitude of things. He actually works with our brand new hires, such as Mr. Bologna that Mr. Barham just talked about. But in actuality, part of what he does as well is we allocate the $40,000 to actually work with our brand new general education and special education teachers under the umbrella of our ECI, which is our it's totally escaping me at the moment, but it's our clinical way that we actually look at instruction and what we highly value as instructional practices in the district. And so for 2 days, our secondary and our elementary teachers come in actually before they step foot in the classroom, and they do training with Mr. Forsyth. And so just to reiterate again, this is our last year we'll be using him. It's a trainer of trainer models. He's training 2 of our directors that are in ed services. So at this point, cutting his contract in half to be able to do that, we will then be able to move forward in the 27-28 school year without his services, and the ECI is essential components of instruction. It just came to me.
Thanks, Dr. Velez. Anybody else?
And one more clarification.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct, Ms. Wiersma. It is Title II funding, which can only be used in the state of California for professional development.
Just to clarify, is your recommendation we bring this back with that cap, with the idea that it's 40 instead of what it's been in the past, or how can we ensure that?
I'm more than happy to bring back a board topic sheet that actually clarifies the $40,000.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to do that.
That I would appreciate. I think that would be very helpful, and thank you for explaining it's to train the directors to take over, because I think that's where we need to go when we look at the budget.
Okay. Do we want to get board consensus to bring back or vote on this, to amend this to bring back to the next meeting then with that additional language?
I'd like to make the motion to do that.
Okay, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Barham, and then Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barham,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Komrosky.
Yes, motion adopted 5-0. Okay, thank you, Dr. Velez, for all that information. And now we're into, oh, skipped a page. Negotiations update. Oh, did I? Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think it ripped it out. Negotiations update, Mr. Arce.
I don't have a negotiations update today.
Okay, we have board comments. Anybody want to go first?
I can go first. Are we ready? Okay. I just wanted to, first let me get my glasses on. Over Father's Day weekend, I was able to visit my father-in-law at the Veterans Home facility, and then I was able to spend time with my own dad and my own sister. We took my dad to see the Dead South. I don't know if anyone here knows of them, but it was a concert, and it was a moment I will never forget. We were watching the sunset over the Rockies, surrounded by a huge crowd of people, dancing, singing, clapping hands, and enjoying the bluegrass music. And in the middle of all of that, I looked and saw a smile on my dad's face. The memory is priceless. It reminded me that sometimes the most meaningful moments are not complicated. They're not about money or things. They are about being present with the people we love, sharing an experience, laughing, and creating memories that stay with us after the moment has passed. Like taking my granddaughter to the beach in Hawaii and watching my daughter bury her in the sand with the ocean in front of us and the island around us. The magic of the sound of the waves, the warmth of the sun, and the joy of seeing generations of our family laughing together in one place. Even watching my nephew this last weekend at a rodeo recently get thrown 10 feet in the air by a bull, thankfully he was okay, became one of those family moments where everyone holds their breath, then comes together in relief, love, and gratitude. These are the memories that stay with us. The beautiful ones, the funny ones, the scary ones, and the sacred ones. They remind us that life is fragile, family is precious, and time together is something we should never take for granted. As a school board, we talk a lot about programs, policies, budgets, and achievement. Those things matter, but at the center of all of this are families, parents, children, grandparents, and the relationships that shape who our students become. Time is more valuable than money because once it's gone, we cannot get it back. And the one thing that makes all of us equal is that none of us know how much time we have. That should make us more intentional with where we place our minds, where we place our hearts, and where we place our energy. I hope we can all remember to invest in the relationships that matter most, to focus on the good things in the world and the good things in our district, to create meaningful moments with our children and families, and to make the most of the limited time we have been given. In the end, these memories, the smiles on my parents' faces, the laughter of a grandchild, time spent together, that's what matters most.
As we've talked about tonight, our nation was founded 250 years ago on a simple, enduring principle that we must boldly oppose overreaching, tyrannical rule whenever the state attempts to usurp the fundamental rights of its people. Today, one of the most critical battlefields for that freedom is the right of a parent to direct the upbringing, education, and mental health care of their child. We saw this exact clash recently when California enacted policies like AB 1955, demanding that schools keep major life-altering social transitions a secret from mothers and fathers. This past March in Mirabelli v. Bonta, the United States Supreme Court stepped in and granted an emergency injunction blocking the enforcement. Citing long-standing constitutional precedent, the High Court explicitly reaffirmed that parents, not the state, have primary authority over their children, and that this right includes the fundamental right not to be shut out of participation in decisions regarding their children's mental health. Several of us on this board have been involved in an important component of working together in the trenches on a local level to help change the national conversation. Having said that, when George Washington wrote his famous farewell address, he left us with a powerful reminder about the true strength of our nation. He wrote that the name of American belongs to us in our collective capacity, and that despite slight shades of difference, we have a common cause and we've triumphed together. In the past couple of weeks, we've all witnessed the beautiful reflection of that exact human spirit right now on a global scale. As we watch the World Cup, we see people and cultures from every corner of the earth uniting in a spirit of camaraderie, joy, and mutual respect. It is a striking reminder that there are so many more things that we have in common as human beings than things that divide us. We all want connection, we all celebrate passion, and we all inherently cherish the right to protect our families. That beautiful truth that we are strongest when we stand together for our families and our freedom is exactly what we're celebrating here at home as our nation marks its historic 250th year anniversary. This July, as mentioned, our school district and the entire community will be stepping out together at the upcoming Old Town Temecula 4th of July parade. For over 35 years as an official city tradition, and for generations before that in the local rural history, this parade celebrates the heartbeat of our hometown pride, and I hope we can put aside our differences for a few minutes and just celebrate the red, white, and blue. It marks an opportunity to celebrate 250 years of the idea that a free, diverse community can stand up for truth, can reject government overreach and can stand hand in hand with parents to protect the next generation. God bless you and your family as you celebrate our country, your family, our schools, and the home that we call Temecula. Thank you.
Mr. Schwartz. Thank you. As we close another successful school year, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who made it possible. First, thank you to our teachers for your dedication, professionalism, and commitment to helping our students learn and grow every day. Thank you to our support staff, classified employees, administrators, and school leaders who work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep our schools safe, welcoming, and effective. Thank you to our parents and families for your partnership and support. Education works best when schools and families work together, and your involvement makes a tremendous difference. Most importantly, thank you to our students. Your hard work, perseverance, accomplishments, and character are the reason we do this work. We are proud of all that you have achieved this year. This year, we have much to celebrate. Student attendance is up. Academic performance continues to improve, and our test scores have increased. These successes reflect the collective efforts of our entire educational community. As we look ahead, 3 seats on the school board will be on the ballot this fall. I encourage everyone to become informed, learn about the issues facing our district, review the candidates and their records, ask questions, and participate in the election process. An engaged and informed community is essential to strong public schools. Additionally, there will be a bond measure on the ballot. This will enable us to modernize facilities, update HVAC, electrical, and remove outdated portable classrooms. I would also like to recognize our superintendent and her leadership team. Despite the challenges and disagreements that can arise in government, they have remained focused on what matters most, our students. Their professionalism, perseverance, and expertise have helped guide our district through this school year and contributed greatly to its success. I personally want to thank our superintendent for her steady leadership and unwavering commitment to our students, staff, and families. In particular, I'd like to thank one of my colleagues, Emil Barham, who has encouraged me to remain positive and focused on the priorities that matter most, our students, our schools, and fiscal responsibility. I would also like to recognize our executive assistant, Lene Anasibar. Much of the work that keeps the district running smoothly happens behind the scenes, and she plays an extraordinary role in supporting our schools, staff, administration, and Board of Education. Lene, thank you. It's from us.
It's from us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Carolyn Hoffman, I'll find out how much it costs for additional guards, and I will definitely look into the library tech salaries and find out what we can do about that. Thanks for those people who brought it up to us.
Mr. Barham.
Over the past year and a half, Mr. Schwartz and I have accomplished a great deal by working together with our superintendent, our executive leadership, our staff, and our teachers. I am proud of what we have been able to achieve through collaboration, steady effort, and a shared focus on students, despite the look of reality TV. My goal has always been simple: to make the most responsible decisions possible for the entire community, especially our most important constituency, the students. This is a nonpartisan seat, and that means our work must rise above politics, religion, and our personal belief systems, and stay focused on what is best for children, families, and the district as a whole. This has meant supporting student achievement, school safety, fiscal responsibility, and programs that expand opportunity for every student. We have advanced career technical education, strengthened after-school and extracurricular opportunities, brought forth our dual immersion program, supported special education, and looked closely at grading practices at the beginning of the year to make sure that they better reflect student learning. These are meaningful investments because they help students succeed in the classroom and prepare them for college, careers, and life. It has also meant making careful decisions that protect taxpayer resources and keep us focused on our core mission. Not failed policy, policies costing us potentially millions of dollars in the coming months. When we govern responsibly, we create stability, build public trust, and make sure district resources go where they belong, into classrooms, student support, and programs that benefit families. Unfortunately, outside political and church network influences have not helped us move towards stable governance since 2022, and they continue to interfere with that goal. Temecula now has a clear choice in November of 26 to continue down a path of dysfunction, chaos, and division for the next 4 years, or choose a new direction, unified in purpose, focused on what a school board should be focused on, not culture wars, but students, learning, safety, and responsible governance. As a reminder to those who advocate for breaking laws you disagree with, responsible governance means that our votes and decision-making must comply with the laws of the state of California and the United States Constitution. This is not an option. It is the foundation of public service. I believe our community deserves leadership that is steady, lawful, collaborative, and student-centered. This is the standard I work to uphold, and that is the standard I will continue to fight for. Thank you, and happy 4th of July.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Can't say that enough. I was going to bring this up on the consent calendar, but yeah, congratulations, Mr. Evans, to your IT promotion, and to Vale Elementary, you have just added an outstanding Viking to your team, Taryn Bologna, the new principal. The very first time I met him on a site visit with Dr. Woods, I was impressed. His leadership was very eminent to me in the first 30 seconds I met him. I thought he was amazing, and I'm so stoked that he's going to be there with those kids and the parents down at Vale Elementary. And I would just say, yeah, happy Independence Day to everybody out there, the 250th birth of our country. Just be safe out there. And that's it. Hope everybody has a nice, safe weekend. Thanks to district and staff for helping us out during this meeting. And God bless everybody. And we are now on to superintendent's comments. Dr. Velez.
So as we close out another remarkable school year, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible work happening across our district. Over the past several weeks, I've had the opportunity, as my executive staff has as well, to attend many end-of-the-year celebrations, promotions, graduations, award ceremonies, and recognitions. These events serve as powerful reminders of the talent, the dedication, and the perseverance of our students, as well as the unwavering commitment of our staff and families. Thank you to everyone who actually really helped these celebrations and making them so meaningful for our students and our families. I also want to recognize our site administrators and leadership teams for their tremendous progress they have made throughout their strategic plans. Throughout this last couple of weeks, our schools have shared updates highlighting innovative practices, targeted supports, student achievement gains, and school culture initiatives, and meaningful opportunities created for students. It's been inspiring to see each school's unique approach while remaining aligned to our district's vision and priorities. The work being done at our sites is making a real difference for students every single day, and I'm incredibly grateful for their leadership. Tonight, as we've heard, the board approved the appointment of Mr. Taryn Bologna as the next principal of French Valley Elementary School. We are so excited to welcome Mr. Bologna, who went through an extremely rigorous process, into his new leadership role, and now he will be a tremendous addition to the French Valley family. I look forward to bringing him back in July for a formal introduction and for a meet and greet with the board. I'm also pleased to share that we have had a very successful start to both summer school and our extended school year program. We have more than 400 students participating in our ESY program, while many others are engaged in summer learning and enrichment opportunities throughout our district. This summer has also marked an exciting milestone for TVUSD. For the first time ever, we hosted transitional kindergarten information nights throughout the district. The response from families has been tremendous, with record attendance as parents learned about the opportunities, the supports, the experiences awaiting their children in the 26-27 school year. It's been wonderful to see how many families are eager to begin their educational journey in TVUSD and to experience firsthand the care, the commitment our schools bring in serving some of our youngest learners. These programs and events reflect the commitment to ensuring students and families feel informed, supported, and connected. Thank you to our teachers, our classified staff, our administrators, and support teams who have chosen to spend part of their summer creating meaningful learning opportunities and enrichment opportunities for students. As we move into the summer season, I hope our students, our staff, our families find time to rest, recharge, and enjoy time together. While the school year may have ended, the important work of serving students continues, and I'm truly grateful for the dedication of our TVUSD team. Thank you, happy 4th of July, and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Dr. Velez. Next is the future agenda items. Any board member want to bring forward something or bring it up for the future? I think Mrs. Wiersma wanted to talk.
I do, yes. And I think this is a great mention for the future, especially as we're talking about the end of the year and celebrating all the things. Lene, if you could put that picture up for me. One thing that I think we could do better as a team, and this was actually brought up, Mr. Barham, as I read a comment on your Instagram, there's not consistency with what we wear to ceremonies. And I think it's important that we have a standard of dress. I know, Dr. K, you wore your doctorate robes or whatnot with your hat, looking very stately. And Mr. Barham, I think you were a little more casual. I wore a dress with a jacket, but wasn't really sure. This is a board that's about an hour from here. And I just looked at them and thought, this is awesome. They give diplomas, they take pictures. They're kind of part of the elegance of the ceremonies. So what I would like to do is bring back something, if required, to talk about how can we do it differently next year and look more stately. I think it's important that we stand out as citizens and elected individuals, but I also know with all of the ceremonial pomp and so forth, it's nice to have this look. And I think they have sashes designated for the board. So that's what I would recommend. I can bring it back, we can talk about it, and hopefully it's just a small budget item that will elevate everything.
So, can I ask you a question? Are you guys provided a gown or anything, or just your street clothes?
So I've never asked for a gown, and I've never really had the discussion. I missed last year, but the year before it, I was in a dress, and I think the year before something similar. But I've never read anything where we've.
So it's school specific, and I agree with you. We should make it, because Steve and I wore. And I wear.
So see, it's all different then, is what I'm pointing
so
out.
Let's bring it back on the next agenda.
Yeah, just so we've all got that understanding, and
I
to the
like-
public, it's a great optic that, I mean, the students should feel like we're dressing up too.
Continuity, yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Hey, I just want to elephant in the room. We have a few doctors on the stage. I'm not switching out my regalia.
No, you keep yours.
So did Dr. Velez, so did Dr.
Komrosky,
Matagzi.
we can wear, look at her picture. There is
saw it.
someone with a doctorate, and then we just have, we provide.
I should have had Lene put
Let's
up
bring
yours.
it back. Let's bring it back. I'm all about it. Let's bring it back. I have a question. Would any board member consider, is it worth me asking if I can bring back the Adams contract one more time, or is that a dead issue? It's funny to you guys, it's not funny
You're a
to the
member of the
district.
prevailing party, you can bring it back, but Dr. Velez is going to address that. She wants to make a comment.
I want to comment on, after Dr. Velez, I want to make a comment.
I'm bringing it back?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would ask the board to potentially bring this back in an appropriate way. I think it's very important to understand that the work being done with Mr. Adams is district business, and we have existing district business right now that is pending with Mr. Adams, as well as he is working and has worked within the scope of the needs of the district. Mr. Adams does meet the needs of the work being done in the district that's outside the board. So I would ask for a possible reconsideration to bring his contract back.
Can I ask Dr. Komrosky a question?
Sure.
We haven't closed the meeting. Is there any way to reconsider it before the meeting closes?
Yeah, because you're a member of the prevailing party.
I need to
Move
ask.
to reconsider it.
This is give me 1 second.
There was no vote tonight, so there was no vote tonight.
Move to reconsider it.
reconsider.
So I'm going to move.
Hold
I
on,
want
Doctor.
board.
Hold on.
I'm
Hold
going
on.
to ask you a question. If I get
I know,
board
but
consensus,
I'm not
can we
ready to listen.
consider
I'm
it right
talking
now?
to Dr. Velez. You got to give me a second. You guys are moving fast. Hold on. If we get board consensus to go back to the action item, do we have board consensus to go back to the action
Yes.
item? Okay, we have board consensus.
And then
Now,
I
what's
want
your motion?
the board to reconsider my original motion.
Second.
Lene, would you mind pulling up the motion? And this time, Dr. Anderson, would you mind reading out your motion? Before there's a motion in a second, just to be crystal clear. Okay, you mind reading
Okay.
that out?
I move to approve the new limited scope legal services agreement with Adams, Silva, and McNally as presented, with the understanding that the agreement limits the firm's services to designated departments and excludes collective bargaining, negotiations, labor strategy, and board-related matters, including board governance, board member conduct, internal board operations, and board policy disputes, unless separately authorized by a formal board action.
Second.
Lene, would you mind calling roll?
Wiersma.
No.
Anderson.
Yes.
Barham.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Komrosky.
No, motion adopted 3-2. Okay, we now have Attorney Adams on board. All right, announcement of the next meeting, the next regular open session business meeting. Any other board members want to bring back bring a future agenda item? Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Barham?
I want to bring a future agenda item. If I can, I don't really need a future agenda item, but I would like to work with you on something. Okay, you personally, me, you, and Mr. Huff. And I want to work on the prevailing, he is the one, I remember from a board meeting before I was elected, he is the one who brought the prevailing party notion to you, which you have embraced. And I want to sit down and talk with Huff and you about that notion, because I believe it is incorrect. I'm not trying to say anything disparaging about you, but we need Huff to make that clear so we can move on. Because when you bring that up, I want to object. I don't object because I don't want to fight with you here about it, but I want to sit down with you and Mr. Huff and discuss that piece because I believe it is incorrect. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm fine with that. But I want to talk it out with you and him because he is the one. He brought it out to you the night that Dr. McClay was terminated, and I remember it very distinctly, and I remember how he did it, and I just want to talk about it with you. No pressure. If I'm wrong, and I want to move on with that. Can we do that?
I'm not sure. I'll consider it. But we can do this behind the scenes if the board consents. I mean, if we're allowed to get consensus on this, we can easily meet on a Zoom call with Dr. Velez and Mr. Huff and/or DeMarco.
I'd rather do it with Huff.
We can, okay, because
Because he brought it up to you.
advisable. So we can do that.
Okay. Do we have
Yeah,
consensus?
but Dr. Velez wants to ask a clarification.
Mr. Barham, I'd just like a little clarification. Are you indicating that you would just like that clarification with Dr. Komrosky, myself, and Mr. Huff, or are you suggesting any kind of board bylaw or policy?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all.
Okay. I just want clarity.
It's a 10 to 15-minute Zoom call on, and what it is it's a motion to reconsider a motion, and it deals with majority, and, are you the prevailing party or are you not, which is something. It's not, he's not incorrect. I mean, he's bringing forth something that is in the rules of order, but I don't think exactly correct. And like I said, if I'm shown to be wrong, I'm okay, and then we'll move on the way Dr. Komrosky says. But I just want to talk it out with him and Huff and you.
Then I would like to add, because also this has been brought up in the last year by DeMarco, and he clearly said that you cannot re-agendize items if you're a member of the minority. So to have it potential conflicting, one lawyer at a time, and then it's a one-way communication of the whole board.
Yeah, or we can have them both there.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
We can have them
We
both
have
there.
consensus? Good, we're up for that.
Yeah, let's have them both
All
there.
right. All right, the next regular open session business meeting of the Governing Board of Education is scheduled for Tuesday, July 28, 2026. The meeting is adjourned on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026 at 8:35. I'm so glad I got us out at around 8:30. Wow.